Hey everyone, welcome everybody to another Sunday afternoon chat. Some of you are going, what? What? Yeah, that's right. It's Monday morning. It's not Sunday afternoon at all. I tell you, since we started these Sunday afternoon chats, I think I made every single one until this one. And we didn't make this one. We didn't make this one at all. And I kept trying to do it. I was traveling all day yesterday. I actually run into my buddy Daniel Arms and his wife DJ and his boy Houston. First thing Houston said was, what are the odds of this? What are the odds of this? Ran into him in Chicago. That's right, Chicago, in the airport. In between planes, getting ready to board a plane to Oklahoma City. I had flown from Newark, New Jersey. That's right, Newark, New Jersey. And ran into him in Chicago. And we got home late last night. I just never, ever had a time that I could do the Sunday afternoon chat. That sounds strange, but I just never had a time. I had all my stuff with me to do it and could have done it, but just did not do it. So I apologize for that. But so we've got a Sunday afternoon chat on a Monday morning. It is just after daylight. Chris is still in bed asleep, and I'm going to probably kind of rush through this a little bit because I don't want her to wake up and not find me there with her and she's all by herself, and I don't want her to get scared. But what a magnificent week we have had. We shot a little video off and on throughout the week. Not much. It's not going to be an exciting deal, but we'll let you know. We'll show something here in the next few days and kind of put it all together about what we did, because we had an incredibly great week. For a Christmas present, one of the Christmas presents we got last year from my daughter Sherry and her husband Jack. And one of the reasons that we didn't even have time to shoot, we could have, after we got to Oklahoma right before dark, we could have actually stopped and shot a Sunday afternoon chat, but we had to get all the way back down to the ranch, and then Jack and Sherry had to go all the way back home, which is another 200 miles, and they didn't leave here last night until after 10 o'clock, and Jack is at the hospital working this morning. That's right, he had to be at the hospital at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I just did not have any time to take and do it, and I apologize for that, but we had an incredibly great week. I've got some great things to talk to you about. They gave us a trip to go watch some Dodger baseball games. That's right. Jack is a San Francisco Giant fan, which we don't hold that against him. He's a great son-in-law. But he is a Giant fan. Of course, we are all Dodger fans, Los Angeles Dodger fans. And that goes all the way back to the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's right. When I was a kid, that goes all the way back to the Brooklyn Dodgers. Many of you don't even know there ever was a Brooklyn Dodgers, but the Brooklyn Dodgers. And they bought us a trip to go watch some games, a couple games in Philadelphia, a couple games against the Mets in New York. And so this is what we've been doing all this past week. We had a great trip. We flew last Tuesday to Philadelphia. We flew to Philadelphia. And we go to a couple games there, but let me tell you, this just worked out so great. It just shows you how great people are. It shows you how great people are no matter where they are. Now, in the South, we know that everybody is such great people in the South, and you become friends with somebody and they invite you into their house, they cook you meals, they take you fishing, they become a buddy in a heartbeat. And a lot of places in the North, that doesn't happen that way. Everybody's a little bit suspicious of everybody else, because there's so many people. If you just have a small percentage of bad folks, it sort of gets out, and sometimes it permeates the dough, particularly in some of those big cities. But the friends and the people that we met up in New York and Philadelphia were just absolutely wonderful. I mean, absolutely wonderful. And so Sherry and them bought this trip way back before. This is a Christmas present, way back before Chris had her stroke, the day after Easter, which, by the way, is 19 weeks today. 19 weeks today on a Monday. This is Sunday afternoon chat on a Monday, so it's 19 weeks today. And I've got some great news to report on Chris also. I mean, incredible news. I'm so excited about it, I couldn't even hardly sleep last night after that long day of travel. But they bought us the trips to the game. We're going to do some other things up there, which we did, and do a little sightseeing, a little touristing, something that Jimmy does not do. I just simply, all my life, have never done anything like that. Back when Chris and I first got married and started having babies, and we only had 2. We should have had 3 or 4. But when we started doing that, we did a little bit of that early on in our marriage. But then we were so heavily involved in tournaments, and we were going all the time. And so when we had time off, we just wanted to stay at home. We didn't want to travel. And so Sherry and Jack like to travel. Sherry's always liked to travel. As a baby, she liked to travel. She spent most of her school years at bass tournaments, you know, and she was a homeschool kid, and Jamie was a homeschool kid before that was fashionable, before there really was such a thing as homeschooling. And we'd just take the schoolwork with them, and they'd do all their schoolwork, and Chris would teach them, and I would teach them that week, and then they'd be back in school until the next tournament, and then they'd go on the tournament with us. But anyway, they bought this trip, and we decided that Chris had a stroke, and we talked to her about it here in the last 2 or 3 or 4 weeks about we're going on that trip. She says, we're going. And so we did, and she just did magnificently. She did wonderful on that trip. She's been in and out of so many Ubers and taxis that it's amazing. She's got in Suburbans and not pickups, but those Honda and Toyota's got those cars, Highlanders and stuff like that. I don't know what they call them all, but she got into those kind of things and kind of little van type deals, you know, and you know they're I don't know what they call them nowadays. You know, I drive pickup trucks, so I don't know what they call them. But anyway, she's got in more of those, and it's just been amazing. It's easy to get her in and out of her car. It's a Cadillac, and it sits down low, and it's been real easy. But the hired vehicles, it was difficult. But she's got in and out of them. She went to baseball games, and we went to, excuse me, it's really early in the morning. I didn't get much sleep last night. But we went to a couple of Philly games, and my buddy Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at OU, big shout out to Joe. Super Joe, we call him here in Oklahoma. Super Joe, best athletic director in the world, bar none. Nobody even close. I know a lot of good athletic directors out there, and one of them is my buddy Philip Fulmer, who was athletic director at the University of Tennessee for a while. Great man. But, hey, Super Joe, that's the #1 athletic director in the country. And when Joe found out, he'd called to check on Chris one day, and I told him what we were getting ready to do. And he said, hey, my buddy is president of the Philadelphia Phillies. He said, let me call up there and see if we can help y'all in getting in and out of the stadium and getting Chris to her seat quickly and everything. And so we've already bought all of our seats. Jack bought all of our seats for 4 games up there, 2 in Philadelphia and 2 in New York. And he said, well, let me just call him and see if he can help you up there. And so he did, and he put us with his personal assistant, Adele, and Adele took care of us like she was from the South. That's all I could say. So all of y'all from the South know exactly what I'm talking about. She could not have been any sweeter, could not have been any nicer. Hey, the sun's trying to come up. But she just treated us like gold. She was just such a wonderful person, and met us with a bag full of goodies, some Philly paraphernalia and hats and stuff, and it just, I mean, a goodie bag with a program in it for the night and everything, and just took care of us and stayed with us throughout the deal. We actually got to go down on the field. She took me down on the field to meet some of the Philly players that fished. I visited a long time with Aaron Nola, who actually Aaron Nola pitched while we were there. And we had a couple of rainouts in Philadelphia, an hour and 45-minute rainout one night, an hour and 38-minute rainout the other night. And so the games went, and we was getting back to the hotel room at 1 o'clock in the morning. And keep in mind, Chris has been taking a nap, getting up in the morning late, taking a nap, eating breakfast, taking a nap, eating lunch, taking a nap, eating the evening, and going to bed around 8 o'clock. We were staying up until 1 o'clock at night. And it was kind of hard on her, but she was such a trooper. She never complained one single word the entire week. But I went down and visited with Aaron Nola. Aaron is from Louisiana, from Baton Rouge, which I've spent a lot of time at Baton Rouge. We used to have those fishing tournaments down there for 14 years, raised over $5 million for St. Jude's Hospital with those fishing tournaments. Did them, I think, for 14 years. And it's just incredible. I got so many friends down in that South Louisiana area that it's amazing. But Aaron Nola is from Baton Rouge, loves to fish. I visited with Aaron for probably 10 or 15 minutes before the game. That was the second night we were there. The first night was when he pitched. He was throwing a shutout. The Dodgers were throwing a shutout. And, of course, after the rain delay, neither pitcher got to go back out there and pitch. But great guy, just super guy. Loves to fish, and anybody that loves to fish, I love. That's just all there is to it. But it was incredible there the 2 days in Philadelphia. And not only that, I had met a couple up at Governor Christy Noem's place in South Dakota. I'd met David Mazer and Allie. And David is a lawyer, an attorney there in Philadelphia. And when we were visiting up there in South Dakota, he had mentioned that, he said, Jimmy, we have several restaurants in Philadelphia. He said, we'd like to treat you to dinner one night. We'd like to treat you to dinner. And of course, we was only there a couple nights, so we had dinner. We went to a great place, the Bookbinders, the old bar in the Bookbinder building, historic building there in Philadelphia, which is great to do that. Some of y'all have eaten there because you commented on it. I did a catch of the day from there, and some of y'all commented on that you had eaten at his restaurant, and great restaurant, great food. Had what they call a lobster dog, a corn dog. They call it corn dog, and it's a lobster made up like a corn dog. Instead of having a wiener inside of it, it's got a whole lobster inside of it. Tremendous meal, tremendous meal. So we had a great time. We had a great time there, and then Allie, the next day, we wanted to go to the Liberty Bell, which we did. We got a video on showing a little bit of all of this. Nothing really fancy or long or well produced or anything. It's just kind of a little bit to give you a touch of what we did on our vacation. A vacation, that's right. And something that, again, Jimmy just does not do. Jimmy just does not do. And I liked it, though. I might kind of start doing it a little bit more often. But anyway, we took the last day that we were there, and we went to see the Liberty Bell. And Allie works down there in that area, and she's got connections with with everybody in that area, and so she has the CEO of one of the buildings come out there. Actually, the tourist building, the visitor information building. The CEO, she brings him out here. He helps us gets in, and cut in line. Some of y'all that were there and saw us cut in line, that's how we cut in line. But they got us in line so we could go through and see the Liberty Bell. And it's things like that. I'm kind of a history buff, you know that. And it overwhelms my heart when I see something like the Liberty Bell and read all about the Liberty Bell and how it was used in the United States and how important it was. And William Penn, of course, who came over from England and actually started a colony that ended up being Philadelphia and the state of Pennsylvania, as a matter of fact. But that kind of stuff, to see the Liberty Bell was wonderful. And then we went to the Discovery Museum, which is a brand new museum. Brand new museum. If you're in Philadelphia and go to see the Liberty Bell, you've got to go to that museum. The Discovery Museum, highly technological museum, just amazing little candles where you can interact with things, electronic candles. You interact with various things, and it's just amazing. And we got the personal tour from the president of that museum, the curator, I guess you would call it in museums, but the head guy there gave us and he had been in museum business all his life, but he was the head man at that, wonderful young man, and he gave us a personal tour through the thing. And Allie came over and went through that with us, and she enjoyed that a lot also. And it was just a great time there in Philadelphia with so many people being so nice to us. I told Allie, I said, if I didn't know better, I'd think you and David were from the South. I think you all were from the South, man. You're just such nice, special people. Everybody there, the CEO of the Welcome Center building, everybody was just so very nice. It was just great in Philadelphia. We had a wonderful time. Like I said, a great meal there at the old bar at the Bookbinder building. It was just wonderful. 2 great games. We won both games. Rain, and the great thing about it is Adele with the Philadelphia Phillies gave us seats where we could get in easily and in a great area and almost a private area. It wasn't private, obviously, in a baseball game. There were 38,000 people at both games. They were played 2 first-place teams. The Philadelphia and the Mets are first place. They're battling it out. So the Dodgers played 2 first-place teams. And but we were in an area where we actually had a roof over our heads. So when the rain came, we didn't have to leave. Everybody else ran up the stands, and we didn't have to leave. We stayed there. So that was great. And then we went on over to New York, up to New York by train. That's right, by Amtrak. Some of the $1 billion a year that Amtrak loses, some of that money we've spent in taxes all of our life supporting Amtrak, we got to use some of it. Of course, we had to buy tickets, but and the amazing thing about the trains is when they're getting ready to leave, they're leaving, and they're leaving on time. You better be in there. When they open those doors, they shut the doors. When they open the doors, you better go in. And when they open them again, where you're supposed to get off, you better get off, because the train is going to keep on going. It's going to keep on going. So we got to ride the train. That was an incredible deal. We get over to New York. We're staying at the downtown Marriott in New York. It's just right beside the World Trade Center, the brand new World Trade Center building. We took the tour on that. We go to St. Paul's Cathedral. We just this cathedral where a lot of the ground zero, we go to ground zero, we go up in the top of the World Trade Center and got, the view from the observation tower up there. Just everything's amazing. Like I said, we've got a little video on all of this that we'll get put together sometime in the next several days. But it's just amazing. And again, things that Jimmy and Chris don't do. We've been all over the world fishing, but there are things like this that we just don't do. And we go to areas, we say, it'd be nice to come back here. We've been to New York City before. I've given seminars in New York. I've gone to boat shows in New York. I've worked there. We've driven through New York City, pulling our boat, going up to fish the Thousand Islands and Lake Champlain. So we've been to New York City. But to go and enjoy New York City, to go enjoy Philadelphia, which I've been to Philadelphia before also, but to go enjoy it a little bit, it was just amazing, just amazing. There where we were in the World Trade Center, it's amazing how clean that area is. There's a lot of street vendors around, and they're selling stuff everywhere, but how clean it is. They must be people picking up all the time. Now, when they put their trash out, when all the people up there put their trash out, getting ready for the trash to be picked up, there's big piles of trash. I mean, like mountains of trash. But the streets are clean. There's not trash laying everywhere. It's really pretty nice. People going everywhere on bicycles and scooters and all kinds of things, individual personal transportation, all kinds of it. Just amazing. Thousands of cars, millions of people. It's just amazing. But we get to go, have the World Trade Center experience. We go up on top of Observation Tower, and we could see the Statue of Liberty from our hotel room in the Marriott. We're 32 floors up, and we could see the Statue of Liberty. We went and took a cruise. Jack had bought us a dinner cruise. We took a great dinner cruise, had an incredible meal with entertainment and everything, and go out to the Statue of Liberty. And I videoed the Statue of Liberty on our video, and I tell you what, I got so overwhelmed. And I'm not an immigrant. I was born here in Texas. I was born in Texas, lived in Oklahoma most of my life. I'm as American can get. I guess you're one that they're saying I've got white supremacy or something. I have no white supremacy. I have no white privilege. I've worked my butt off my whole life for everything. But to go there and look at that Statue of Liberty, and just my heart just overwhelmed with pride for the United States of America. And knowing that people that have come from all over the world to settle here and live here, and I know a lot of them are doing it illegally right now, and we've got a big mess in that situation, and it's horrible what's going on. It's all a political deal, but it's terrible. It's what's going on now. But I got choked up and had tears running down my face just looking at Lady Liberty, and it's a big tourist attraction. The island was just covered with thousands of people. And we were on a boat. We didn't go up on the island, but it's just thinking about America. And I know they're trying to change America. They're trying to destroy America. We've got one political party that's trying to turn us into a European country and get rid of the borders and not even have the United States of America. We just went through the Olympics, and so many of those people wrapped that American flag around them, and it just tears run down their face. They were so proud to be an American. But there's a big bunch of people in this country right now and basically it's political. It's not heartfelt, it's political. They're just trying for political power, and they'll destroy America for their own political benefit. But there's so many of us out here that live out here in places like I live, in the middle of nowhere, that love this country. But to stand there in front of that Statue of Liberty was just mesmerizing for me, and my heart just overwhelmed. I was just so proud to be an American. I wanted to just bust out singing the Star Spangled Banner or something. It's just fantastic. They still sing the Star Spangled Banner at every baseball game that I was at, by the way. We get to go to 2 Mets games, the same situation. Listen to this. I talked to you about people in the South have had experiences with people from the North that were not very good sometimes, and we have also. It's a hustle-bustle country up there in that part of the country, and sometimes they honk at you, they holler at you, they cuss at you, they give you half of the peace sign, they do all kinds of things, but there's so many good people in the North. And let me tell you how good they are. Adele calls somebody up with the New York Mets and say, Jimmy Houston's coming over there and bringing his wife, and she's in a wheelchair because she had a stroke, and his daughter and his son-in-law, and want you to take care of them. And the Mets take care of us just like the Philadelphia Phillies did. And we do not go to the seats that Jack bought for us, so we got 4 unused tickets at every game. They put us right behind home plate, just right behind the field. and we were there for both ball games, and so we got to do that. And we were scheduled to go down on the field the second night and meet the players there that love to fish, and they didn't hold batting practice that night, so that didn't actually end up happening. So we didn't do that. But at the Mets, they came around with a camera. They put us up on the screen. Somehow they got video of me fishing with my buddy Red Berry down in Alabama. And they put it up on the big giant TV that they got out in the middle of center field. I don't know how big those screens are, but those huge screens, it's at all the sporting events now. And they bring a camera guy around waving at the camera and stuff, and it was just fantastic. And I think Sherry might have shot a little video of that screen, so we might be able to show you that on the video of Jimmy and Chris's big vacation, I guess we might call it. But it was just a fantastic trip, and then to top it all off, we fly from Newark, New Jersey, back to Chicago, and who do we meet but our very, very dear friends from 5 miles down the road, Daniel Arms and DJ, and my little buddy Houston. And Houston tells me that he's got a brand new casting rod and reel combo, and he said, I want to go fishing. And I said, do you backlash? And he said, well, some. And I said, you practice a little bit more, but he's ready to go bass fishing. We'll be doing that again with him pretty soon, taking Houston bass fishing. He's growing like crazy, I tell you. He's just turning into a young man. It's what he's turning into, and that's just fantastic. Well, the sun's going to get up here in Oklahoma. It's been a great week, and we'll share that week with you a little bit. The deer were here to meet me this morning already. I've already visited with them a little bit. They were all out here in the yard, and they come running up here when I walked out on the front deck, and it's just great to be back here. I've got Chris here with me this week. Chris is getting a Botox shot in her right arm to kind of, her hand is drawing up and kind of loosen those muscles and hopefully fix that. I told her that we'll give one in her face too while she's at it. Don't tell her I said that. But you're getting a Botox shot in her arm this week, and doing a rehab session. I think she's got a session, just one rehab per week. But let me tell you, let me finish this thing off with one real quick thing. She started talking better yesterday than she has ever since the stroke. She was two or three times. Well, the night before, I put her in bed after we got back from the ball game. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I turned it on Fox News, and she said, Jimmy, and I walked in there, and she said, will you turn the TV off? Just as plain as day. And I started laughing, carried on. She said, what's so funny? I said, just how well you talk. Of course, you realize she thinks she's talking well when she's not. She thinks she's saying something and the words are not coming out of her mouth the same. And then yesterday, throughout the day, as we traveled all day, and it was a hard travel day on her, it really was, transferring wheelchairs and aisle chairs to get on the airplane and stuff like that. But it was, she would sometimes say a 4 or 5 or 6 word sentence just as plain as day, and I'd go, whoa, where'd that come from? And then when we were driving through Davis, Oklahoma last night, I was just driving through there, and she was tired, and I thought she'd slept a little bit on the way from Oklahoma City. And she said, can we stop at the Sonic? Just as plain as day. And I said, well, we sure can, baby. And we did. And so she started putting some small sentences together that just come out of the blue, not in the conversation or anything where she's just sort of agreeing with you or saying yes or no or some little sentence. So that it's rapidly changed in the last 2 or 3 days. So I suspect that that's going to be a snowballing type thing. And before long, she'll be talking. I told her, I said, you're going to be out there doing your deer videos on Friday night. I said, they don't want me doing deer videos on Friday night. I said, our numbers have gone down since I've been doing the videos. You need to get back out there and get the number of views up, okay? And so she loves to do her deer videos. She loves to talk to her deer. But she'll be with me here for a couple, 2 or 3 days this week, and then she'll be over at Sherry's for part of the week because I'm going to Kansas City. I'll be in Kansas City next Saturday night at church. I think that is Fellowship Church in Kansas City. I'll get that information for you and get that out pretty just real quickly. I'll find that out today exactly and get the address on that church. I'll be there on a Saturday night on a big men's event. I'll be there on all 3 services, speaking at all 3 services on Sunday. So if you're in Kansas City, next weekend will be, I think, 2021 of August. Come and see us at that church because it's going to be a great event. I fished with the pastor of that church, and he is just a great guy. And it's a wonderful church. They built that church from nothing up to a huge mega church, and we're going to have a great time there in Kansas City next weekend. So Chris will be over at Sherry and Jack's while I'm going to Kansas City. But guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. And remember, I sure do love you.